Okay, I just wanted to make a little presentation of what I consider the important software release remarks and extra information and things that happened on the OS2 community this last year. So, like all my presentation, this is my personal opinion. At the end, we can like say, oh, you missed that, you think I consider that this was important, and we can talk about that. Okay, first, the first remark that I consider was the release of ArcaOS 5.1 with UEFI support. This was very important to us because it made it possible for OS2 to install in modern machines. So before this, we were like scrambling all hardware, checking the BIOS configuration. Let's sure it makes it has the compatibility mode. Maybe this machine no. So UEFI release make it really easy for us to grab new hardware and try it first. Of course, there are some things. Yeah, we still need to check some stuff of the laptops, of the hardware, to make sure it's compatible. But it makes it really easy for us to have like new hardware. The second thing that UEFI support make easy for me was dual boot with Windows 11. I had a machine with Windows 11. I just installed ArcaOS. First I repartitioned, so I have a space for ArcaOS. I install it. I set the boot manager, and Windows didn't complain, ArcaOS didn't complain. It worked as expected. So that was something that I was not able to do easily on BIOS machine. You have to repartition, and then you had to fight between each other, between booting Windows and booting ArcaOS, to see who sees which partition, to see the boot manager, how to load the boot manager, erase the boot manager, put the boot manager again. So it made it easy for me this time. Yes,
Did
Dave?
you shrink the partition that Windows uses using Windows first, and then that made available space, or did you do it some other way?
No, I use a Windows utility, a third-party utility to shrink the partition. I think it's IASUS or ISUS.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, that comes with free edition that you can partition it.
Now, why didn't you use the Windows? Because in Windows you could just shrink the partition.
I think I feel more comfortable with that software. It's like I come from the partition magic days.
Yes.
And I think, oh, that resembles that. So I looked the part. Matt.
Do you have secure boot enabled or?
No, first I didn't use secure enabled, and I don't have it yet. But I just made some quick testings on a different machine. But first I tried with secure enabled off. Okay. And it has been tested on my ThinkPad, the 14S first generation. The only trick here was I disabled hyper-threading, and the first time installed it, I also disabled secure boot. Then I'll try it on different machines. I still want to keep trying secure boot and understand it better, okay? So this is like the first remark that I have from like last year. The other thing that showed up as a consequence of the UEFI release of ArcaOS was Refine, which is a replacement for the boot manager that comes on ArcaOS. So the issue is that on high resolutions, the ArcaOS boot manager looks very small, and you have to move. You have good sight. Which I have, just the screen resolution. I'm not getting old. It's just the screen resolution, not my eyes. Okay, first of all, it's not age. And yeah, it was very small. And I don't remember who said, okay, Refine. I don't remember. It was Sigurd that said, oh, Refine is working fine, so we can have dual boot between Windows and and ArcaOS. And it has like a nice graphic user interface with nice icons. And then we have David Grazer that created some other icons so you can put there, and some ArcaOS icons, some nice ArcaOS icons that you can put there. So it was a very good finding, and it's a very good alternative. And as far as I know, it's open source and it's in source force. Okay.
And you could set like the default thing that boots up if you don't do anything, for example, change that?
Like setting this one is the default. I think so. Yeah, I played a little
You know,
bit.
maybe
with
you
this,
can do this on the ArcaOS launcher, but, you know, to be able to move them around or change the default.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's this?
The AN launcher.
Yes.
You alter the order of things that
Yes, you
appear?
can edit the launcher config file.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Well, on ArcaOS launcher is just like a text file that you play around, right?
Yes, the launcher config file is just a text file. Yeah.
Okay.
And there are instructions in the text file as to how to edit it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a very nice alternative. Louis, do you want to say something?
I was just going to say that AN Launcher is provided as a way to get things done. It's not provided as the be-all and end-all of UEFI boot.
Yeah, understood.
Okay?
It works.
You need some boot manager, and if there's no other operating system installed, you gotta have something. So, Refind is actually my preferred one, but then the comment was made, well, if you want to install Refind, then you write the installer for ArcaOS. And of course I said, well, we already have AN Launcher. So that was kind of where it went. But there are definitely more feature-rich boot managers
Yeah.
available.
And so how do you install it? Do you need Windows first and then you can install it, or how does that work?
That, I haven't installed it in ages. Martin, you want to talk about how to
Refine?
install Refine?
No.
It installs in the ESP.
Yeah.
And my memory is it's fairly simple.
Okay.
Once you have that, called ESP,
Yeah, the ESP.
once you have an ESP updated, then you basically copy over their files into the ESP.
Okay.
And you get icon for each one of the directories of files that you copy over. It's pretty straightforward. What it doesn't do, at least on my machine, is it doesn't transfer from a UEFI session to a compatibility session with boots. Now, some other people have said that it does, but it didn't on the machine that I have. And I mean, UEFI is kind of complex.
Yeah. What I get is like there are like applications for UEFI, and you grab like that files and put it on the ESP partition. Yeah, and to make it run.
Yeah.
And they run there. I don't know if you can like, since both in compatibility mode, do you mean like run both these on compatibility mode? Because
Well,
it should be only UEFI.
And on the machine that I'm booting, the desktop, it lists most of the boot media twice.
Mhm.
And it lists it once as UEFI and it lists it once as compatibility. And which one of those you pick determines whether it goes in UEFI mode or compatibility.
Oh.
So this RFind is on a UEFI partition.
Yeah.
So you're booting into UEFI to get it.
Yeah.
But then if you're trying to boot to pure compatibility, that's where on my Ryzen machine, it doesn't switch over. Now Dave Eel said that he had success having it switch over. So I think it's very machine dependent.
Okay, because I was thinking that you can only go UEFI without compatibility mode with the thing that the OSs that you may have
Well, the
here.
reason I went to that is because I wanted to boot off of the UEFI disk yes, but then boot into compatibility. And on my machine it won't, but Dave said that on his machine it does. So
Okay. Oh,
it depends on.
maybe we should keep trying.
Yeah.
See and see if something show up. Okay. Sorry? Oh.
Does RD5, or any of these have any kind of protection against Windows and its habit of erasing the UEFI explorer, the UEFI menu? Because I know every few weeks on this one, the AN launcher menu just disappears because Windows has decided to disable it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have that experience. I have Windows 11 that I use for work, and every time I reboot, I have like or the ArcaOS launcher, or I haven't seen any like Windows update that wipes the boot launcher yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but in my experience that I have this like how many like well since January I think. When was released? Sorry, ArcaOS was last year or?
It's earlier this year.
It's early. Sorry, since ArcaOS was released.
Or,
I think like October of last year.
Let me click it here.
Five.
Sorry, no. Now, it took me like, I don't know, like, see, like November, I started ArcaOS on November or something like that. And yeah, but I have like the Windows 11 updates turned on, so I didn't get anything that erased the ArcaOS launcher.
Maybe it's a Windows 10 thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fine for months, better part of a year, and then one day I installed a particular Windows update, and it disappeared, and I restored it, and then a few weeks later it disappeared again, and I hadn't installed any updates.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Windows
Low
updates,
battery.
have to do with
Please
the
charge.
online updates?
It might
Yes.
be.
Yeah, it may be that some may do something to the store partition too. Yes, Jeff.
Two questions. One is, if you're using a BIOS hardware, which of the old boot managers still work, if any, or do all of them work?
As far as I know, with a BIOS computer, you have to use AirBoot. That one's
What
comes
about
in.
the original IBM boot manager?
I feel like it is too old, and
It has problems with large drives, and it also, there was something else, it can't coexist very well with modern versions of Windows as well, I think.
Okay, and then there was another
Please
one
charge.
after that, the name of which I forget right now.
AirBoot or IBM Boot Manager and AirBoot.
There's
That's the
another in
only.
between then.
What?
There's another one in between.
I don't know.
Yeah, Vite Kanagazu wrote a very simple one at one point, that's also compatible. I forgot what it's called. It's something, I think it's available on Bob's or his site, but it's very primitive.
Okay, so then, well, primitive, but my needs were very simple, choose the boot partition.
Yeah.
So then the next thing is, you haven't talked about LVM, how is that related to this, if at all?
What?
Not,
No.
well, I mean, it is and it isn't, like, it's kind of, that's a separate layer. They're obviously, like, that's what creates the partitions.
Right, so, but my question is that still in play, or we needn't worry
What?
about that?
Do you mean like
Low battery.
is?
If you're not spanning,
Be-
drives.
Yeah, but because we have like on LVM, we have like the option, install the boot manager, no, has to go manually. Yeah, LVM does not install Refined. Yeah,
LVM is the partition manager.
Yeah,
So
I know.
it always gets involved when you're creating a partition, but.
yeah, but I think like on LVM, you have like the options to install boot manager, to install everything.
Well, it means,
So
yeah.
it's not the primary function,
You
of
can
LVM.
Install and launch it too, but.
Yeah, but this one is
But
by
not
hand.
refined.
Yeah, Refine is by hand. Yeah, but LVM, you had to see it as the tool that partitions the hard drive. Yes, it has an extra thing to install boot manager, but that's not like its main function. And this one does not get installed with LVM.
Mark,
Maybe in the future.
Low battery. Please charge.
Mark,
Yes,
can
yes.
I point out that our find has some excellent documentation that describes how how machines go through the boot up process
Mm.
and how they make the decision of whether to go to CSM or UEFI. They
Oh,
have the
okay.
choice. And, it's actually very worthwhile reading
Mm.
if you're doing a new UEFI or if you're new to UEFI and started it.
Oh,
That's good. So I haven't read all the documentation. I just tried it very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's good if it has like a great documentation, we should check it out. Okay, the other release that I'm also that I haven't
Low battery, please charge.
that I experiment just a very little with is Secure Boot. OS2 Boys released an first edition of Secure Boot that really helps with the other part of the issue with the modern BIOS or the modern UEFI. That is like UEFI now requires like some keys to make sure you're not booting something strange. It's like a layer of security at the BIOS level that they invented. So we usually, to run ArcaOS, we need to shut it down. And well, basically, OS2 Voice has released like some keys so we can turn it on, and ArcaOS is seen as
Low battery, please charge.
a official or secure operating system that the UEFI BIOS should boot. Okay, this is important because even that now we can, it's very common to have on the UEFI settings to shut down secure boot. Maybe someday it will be removed. We don't know. So it is good to have this, even that is like not completely necessary, but it saves us like the trouble to be like inspecting the BIOS settings and changing it everywhere. So, well, I really hope it can be more like embedded to ArcaOS. Hopefully it will improve with time. Yes?
That plus, if Microsoft comes out with yet another Windows and they get rid of the way to disable the secure boot. I know Windows 11 you
Low
kind of
battery,
can do it through a
please
registry
charge.
hack, but
Yeah.
maybe they'll make it so difficult. And if you have to dual boot, it's nice to have this feature for
Yeah.
OS.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there is, I think there is, I don't use it in Windows that you encrypt the hard drive, and I think it's a mess if you have your Windows hardware, a hard drive encrypted, and you remove secure boot. I think it's a mess there that I don't want to experience. I don't want to know about it. So yeah, so it can be interesting to have also to have the feature that to not disable secure boot. Okay. Next, no, not next. Okay, the next remark of the year is Hub's Archive. We didn't discuss this
Low
on
battery, please
the
charge.
last Warpstock because Hubs was working on the New Mexico University, and suddenly the University of New Mexico, decided to shut it down on April of this year. And the issue is that everybody says, okay, I can back up Hubs, and you have no problem. Here's backup. There's a backup. Here you have a backup. And that was not the issue. The issue is that we needed a place when we can upload new OS2 software that were compiled like last week and uploaded into a repository. We didn't require an archive repository, an historic repository. We need something that is alive, where developers are still uploading OS2 software. So that was the issue with at that time, that everybody offered, yeah, I can back up Hubs. No, we need Hubs. And then Nathan Woodruff created a new site from scratch, resembling the old Hubs site. So he created like a new site, and now files uploads are not longer FTP, are with a web form that you put all the information, you put the file, and you upload it there. Okay? And some elements of Hubs were improved, were recreated. and improve, like the search. Where?
Not plugged in.
Uh,
What do you need?
Louis, we don't have
What?
the
Your battery's 15%.
the battery, the charger.
You
I think I
want
put the
one?
machine and I
Oh.
forgot the charger.
Oh.
Yeah.
You need
It's
juice.
it's
You
my
need
fault.
juice.
Yeah, it's my
It's a good
fault
thing
too
that,
because
ArcaOS warned you about that. That's,
yeah.
I'm just gonna whoopsie. That would be helpful. Like they say, if you can't poop, what's the point? That's what it
Point
does.
well taken.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, let me.
Oh, you got it?
I think I.
I'll-
Okay.
I'll let you do it then.
Oh no, no
I mean,
problem.
far be it from me.
Okay. What I was talking about. Okay, it's Archive. So he recreated from scratch. We have like an ongoing conversation to improve this part. The search were improved, which it's a good thing because now on the original hubs, like you can only search like by file name and like descriptions or limited description. Now you can search and put the author name and everything that has the author name will show up, or the URL or the other fields that you put there. Even the date, and you can search for several things. And we have like the Hubs Archive site, and I have created a groups.io for discussing only Hubs Archive. It usually was on the Warp group, but people like say, okay, for little thing, just have a different group for a little thing that you discuss, like, oh, this I don't like this color or the thing. So I created a different group. Okay. Any remark about the new hubs?
Yeah, where is it physically located?
I don't know
In
the city.
Nathan's, in Nathan's office, in Atlanta, or near Atlanta.
Okay,
Okay, yeah. But it's on Nathan's place, yeah.
and Nathan's how old?
Younger than we.
Okay, good.
How about his business? Is it stable?
Probably, hopefully, as stable as OS2. So.
He compromised that while he still has blood on his veins, he will support house.
And kudos to him for doing this.
Yeah, he compromised, say, I expect that during my lifetime I will keep the site up.
Good.
Okay?
Thank you.
How's it sell?
He's, as far as I know, he's in pretty good health. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a bad bicycle accident,
Yeah.
Oh,
and
Oh,
you know,
too bad.
his leg was in pretty bad shape. But he's, as far as I know, he's doing
Okay,
like that.
yeah. Just talking about hubs, let's remember that hubs is our main OS2 ArcaOS public repository. I keep like my side project up. I keep loading freeware, demo, open source, shareware, and public files there. And it's important. I also have been searching for all CD-ROMs for all software from the 0.1x days and from the two version days. And I see that if they still working, if they're still relevant, I try to upload it. And I have like this methodology of loading stuff. in a specific order when I say, well, the name, the version, and I put the date was latest update. Because if I start uploading old stuff without the date, people usually complain and say, hey, why you upload this old stuff and make me think it's new? No, I don't want to make you think it's new. I'm putting the date here so you can be warned. That is from the 90s, from the 80s, or some other date, okay? But the idea is to also preserve and have well document this old software. Also for the people that do retro computing with OS2, okay? And some of this stuff works, still works. Yeah? Even that is 16 bits, it still works. Okay. No, I'm still pressing the wrong button. This is an important remark of the last year. That is X Workplace 1.0.16. Okay, Richwell released this version, and they include two important. He fixes a lot of more stuff, but the important thing, or my important remarks, are the large icons on Xcenter. So now you can go to the Xcenter properties, put the large button icons, on view icons, and it will increase the size of these buttons and and the bar. Yeah, which I'm not getting old. Are not my eyes. Are the higher resolutions of screens. Yeah, and so we can see some example between the original icon size and how they look now. Okay, so this is very important. And the other important thing that was improved with X Workplace is the capacity to now have modify the text size of all workplace shell in one place. So all the graphic user interface in one place. Okay, so I'm going just forward. Why this change gave me joy? Because it made my life easier to set the fonts in ArcaOS. You usually have to go through the scheme palette, try to modify each component one by one, the font size, and throw it to the desktop, pressing Alt. Yeah, so we can change all the look of the desktop, and now you can just do it with one click and a reboot. Okay? Yeah. And there was an issue that not all applications was using the default OS2 font. The issue is that the OS2 default font was very small for higher resolutions, not my eyes, the higher resolutions, and every application was having a small font. So developers say, no, I'm not going to. No, I use the word respect. But Alex told me, don't say respect, because people will say that they are unrespectful. So they didn't adhere to the default font. So they say, okay, I'm gonna make it bigger for my application. So they make it bigger like 10 years ago, and now they look also small, okay? So now we have like applications that all the desktop that adheres to the standard looks fine, but some other applications look different. So it shows this little issue, and this is what happened, that you said like, this one is, I think it's large, and it should look like this way, and you see like smaller fonts on, for example, Comet Cursor. And you have like Alt switcher, also showing small fonts when you are already on large. The good thing is that I contact each developer that was still active, and they updated their application to adhere to the new to adhere to the standard OS2 font that now is managed with X Workplace. So the good thing is that Alex helped on the forum saying what is like, where should developers take a look, should change, and what should they truly change. Alex changed the styler. Yeah, you change styler to adhere to the standard, not to respect the standard, to adhere. Okay. And Greg updated styler. DG updated the 3D launcher. Is DG? Yeah, I don't want to. Also, they updated the Smith Saber. David updated our mouse, and all this stuff got updated, and now all the fonts looks very nice. So I'm expecting that on the next release of ArcaOS, X Workplace will be updated, and all these applications will be also on the latest version, and it will look fine. So this is very important. Now I can go to a single place and say, increase the font size, and all things will look like, yeah, with the right font size. And tomorrow, when we have bigger resolution screens, you go directly to X Workplace and change X Workplace settings there, and still having like bigger fonts. So this was very important because it was like the first love we got on the graphic user interface in a long time. Yeah. USB drivers were also, this was like a discussion on OS2 World Forum. They told me that with the USB 12.16 release, there was like an improvement compatibility with some USB audio devices. So it's something walking up there.
That's the ceiling cat.
Yeah, the ceiling cat, the pigeons.
Velociraptors.
Yeah. So people got really happy, got really pleased to see that now they can use some USB audio devices in the latest release of the USB drivers. And this is also an important remark that ArcaOS improved their website for developers' information. And finally, well, they used to have like this page some time ago, but they have updated. And yeah, it finally says that, okay, here in ArcaOS, we use this stuff, we recommend this stuff. You're free to use whatever you do, of course, but here are the applications that we use for development of Wacom, Visual Age for C++ and GCC. And how do you make drivers with these applications and these libraries? And the toolkits. They posted the toolkits, the IBM device driver kit that it cannot be shared like publicly because there's strange license that it has. And the good thing is they posted an updated version, or how do you call it, like the Arcanoa view of the developer's toolkit, right? Fixed, yeah, fixed. Yeah.
Fix pack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and for toolkits also this too. And the important thing there's been like some discussion with Open Wacom, which version to use. Matt already talked about that. So Arcanoa just say, okay, we use this version. Okay. So that's a good lead for someone learning. Okay, I'm going to use this version. If ArcaOS is using it, I'm going to use it also. Okay.
Two points
Yeah.
to make. The version of Wacom that we use is the version that David maintains. So if you use that version, you find a bug, report that bug to David. Okay? That's the first thing. The second thing is, Arcanoa has an arrangement with IBM where, although the DDK license was only available to subscribers to the developer connection, if you know someone who is retiring or giving up his OS2 work who happens to have a DDK license, he may transfer that license to ArcaOS, and we can grant that license to someone else to use. The license itself is normally non-transferable, but it is transferable through ArcaOS based on our agreement with IBM.
And this includes licenses obtained through the developer's connection.
Correct. So normally, the license in the developer's connection said, you're granted a device driver kit license, so anything you build with a device driver kit, you may distribute that uses the pieces of the toolkit. But you may not transfer your license to someone else to use, and you may not share your license. What IBM did was they said, all right, we can't give you any more licenses, but if you have someone who has a license and wants to give it up, that person can surrender that license to ArcaOS, and ArcaOS may in turn hand that license to someone else.
So they do go through a transfer ceremony.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is, right, right.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
And it's just a license on, like I have all piles of those developer connection CDs.
You were a subscriber to Developer Connection, so you have it.
My company was, but I just took them all when I got fired, so. I mean, is the license a thing on the CD?
Yeah, look on the CD and it will tell you about the license, but it's not just being in possession of the CDs that grants you the license. You had to have been a subscriber to the license. It probably says in there, if your company subscribed, then you're covered. But check the license. I don't remember the license text itself.
You know, I've heard that possession might text a little.
That's true.
The other company doesn't exist anymore, but it did have licenses for years for that developer.
And so, and I would imagine that a company subscription would have granted you coverage under the license. So you would have the use of that license. In perpetuity. I mean, there was no
In timeout.
exactly. But normally, the license has a non-transferability clause in it, so you couldn't hand that off to someone else or sell it to someone else. But with our agreement with IBM, you can surrender that license to ArcaOS, and ArcaOS can grant that license to someone.
And to surrender it, do I just call you on the phone and say, I'm transferring it to you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's all.
Or an email.
Yeah, well, put something in writing, yeah, that says that, you know, I do have a legitimate license, and I will no longer be using it, and so therefore I am transferring it to ArcaOS, and then ArcaOS can then transfer that license to someone else who needs one.
Kind of like granting a license, to open source.
Exactly, it's kind of like granting a license for open source.
Can I ask about the ArcaOS wiki?
Yes.
Is this an image of it, or what is this we're looking at? Or you made a slide that has this?
That just lists that. That's not what the ArcaOS wiki looks
Okay,
like.
and does it have links to these various things? I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, it has the link. You visit ArcaOS wiki and you have the link to download Open Welcome and the.
Yeah, David's got a few links
Yeah.
on there.
Okay.
And you can also go to his website, 88watts.net.
Good.
I'll
But
put
is
better
that
than-
Dave Yao?
Hmm?
That's Dave
No,
Yao?
that's David Azarovich,
Oh, 88 watts.
88watts.net.
And is the toolkit, the TK45, the one that you make available by that link is somehow better than the one I would have?
David's fixed a bunch of things in the headers
Oh, okay.
that were broken.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, people that has a license of the device driver kit, they used to, and they are on the community, they hold on to that license like Gollum holds to the power ring, okay? Yeah, say like maybe precious. Let's keep going. The other remark of last year has been like Qt6. Paul's medley have made great progress. updating this port, and there is an ongoing discussion on discussion. When I say discussion, you feel like it's a positive thing or it's a bad word in English?
No, it's okay.
It's
It's
positive thing.
okay. So there has been a very good discussion about Qt6, and people really are really also trying to help, trying to test, seeing the progress. Even Lewis had told the audience that he's looking to that progress, he's looking to that thread, to that from thread constantly, and every day like a religion. Okay, so this is a very important thing because with this library we can get a lot of potential open source applications ported to ArcaOS. So Qt has become very important to us. Okay, so I say let's keep supporting this effort, and if you have time, give it a try. Download the libraries, the compiled binaries. I mean, download it, check it out, try to run some Qt6 software and find what can be wrong and post it back. Okay. GCC is another important thing. Paul Smedley also compiled the compiler. Yeah, this is an important compiler because it allows all the things from the open source world to be compiled. All the important things are compiled with GCC, and Paul has it updated to version 14. Okay. And for the moment, well, I haven't heard complaints. I think it's working fine. What is missing maybe is try to move everything to the RPM repository so we can install it easy and start working like it will, like turning mainstream. I think is the word. Okay, so that is what we are missing. But this port has been working fine. The other remark that I have is the browser double. On the OS2 World Forum, we have double for Qt6 and for Qt5. Okay, we have like the two editions for the people that want to experience Qt6 and for the people that have already installed Qt5. And there has been like very good synergy between Paul Smedley and Dave Yale to keep compiling the browser and keep trying it. So right now, yes, we have like on the RPM, we have like another version, and we can download the executable file from the forum and try like the newer versions and help out testing it out. Okay. And the last one, I
How does
think.
it work? 5 minutes or 10 minutes?
The old one is 5 minutes. This one is 15 minutes.
Wow.
It depends upon who's running it, on what machine,
Yeah.
and what website.
Uh-huh.
And what
So
you
3 people going to the same website get 3 different results.
Because of the software on their machine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's just not very, consistent yet.
Uh-huh.
Be cool if there's a way to leverage the RAM disk to help performance.
Dave would probably be the one spending most time with that, because he's really done a lot with the RAM disk.
So if you have a vanilla AOS 5.1 install and you drop this on it, can you expect it to run for a little while?
Yeah, I would expect.
You might want to test, tweak your virtual address limit settings.
Yeah, bump that up. You know, our default virtual address limit in configsys is
Very conservative.
1536.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was settled based on our experience with the machines that were widely in use around about 2015. So we might want to revisit
That's
that.
because they have holes in the memory or something?
Yeah. Well, my T43 would not boot with anything higher than 1536.
What can you set it to like 4096 or
3072. That's the max.
3076?
72.
gigabytes.
It's a trade-off. Setting it higher increases your amount of high memory, which lets applications like Dougal, OpenOffice, I think, Firefox, gives them more to work with. But at the same time, that will reduce the amount of low shared memory you have, so other applications might start running into problems. So it's always going to be a trade-off.
2,500.
And different systems will, as Alex just said, different systems will max out at a certain point. I run 2048 on this T43. If I bump it from 2048, the system becomes very unstable. If I run it lower than 2048, SeaMonkey will crash. Yeah, that's it. Normally SeaMonkey will just run and run and run until it starts to get slow, and I need to close it and open it again. That's memory fragmentation. But if I lower that virtual address limit from 2048, it will actually crash and exit at various points. I mean, depending on how low I get it. Now you can go the opposite direction with virtual address limit and lower it from 1536 down to 1024, but chances are you're not going to be able to run any of the new stuff with it that low.
And if it's higher than what was the number?
3072.
3072.
If it's set to a value higher than 3072, it will either go to 3072 or it will revert to the default of
Okay.
1024. Alan, is that the kernel default?
I think it might be.
I think
I'd
it
have to
might
look
be.
that up, but yeah.
Yeah.
And like this is another thing, like where is his stuff? You know, how do you,
Yeah.
how would I know that if I hadn't sat here?
Yeah, he posts his stuff on the OS2 World forum, and he posts like
Oh, okay, that's
he
right.
puts the binaries there, and put the file or a link to download
And
the
then
file.
you'll
Also
end up-
Paul.
You'll end up in that GitHub repository and you'll see other stuff there?
Well, if you go to Paul's GitHub, yes.
Yeah.
So how
But
would I have known?
Paul, the way
Come to
Paul's build
Warpstock.
system, you come to Warpstock, yeah.
I
The
went
way
to
Paul's
Warpstock,
build
yeah.
system
We're
works
here.
is when he compiles something, it automatically builds a zip file and puts that in a temp directory on his server.
Mhm.
So he'll post a link, just finished building, blah, 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 not tested. And it'll be http smegly.info/tmp/whatever, blah, 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 usually with the date code at the end, 2024-09-17 .zip. And that will be that build of that software. But he posts those links regularly. His temp directory is not browsable, so you need to know the file that you want to download.
Okay. Does he have a, like, stable releases directory that you can look at a list of what's
He
there?
doesn't update his website all that often with stable releases.
Okay.
So you really need to follow along there or in his Mantis bug track. He'll put links there too.
But the generalized answer is OS2 World
Yes,
has a lot of this information on it.
exactly.
And if you just start browsing around,
Yes.
you're gonna run across it?
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way I do it is I look through the forum posts on topics that are of interest, and then you go through the different posts on that is where you find
Yeah.
It's sometimes a pain to find going that way, but that's where a lot of this
That's
information.
the best
What,
way.
what I usually do is I just go by the most recent forum posts that are posted on the top page of OS2 World, because those are always going to be the ones with the most activity and the most relevant stuff.
That's probably the best way.
I almost never dive into the actual individual forums. I just use what's on the front page, because that's always going to be the latest hot discussions.
Okay.
Yeah, we can check out that later. Maybe we can check the web page and see where do I have the latest forum posts, because it's on the main site. You have like general news, software news, and the latest forum posts. So people, I think that people are visiting the main website and saying, oh, this got an update, and they click to see the discussion there on the forum. Okay.
And he doesn't put his stuff anywhere else, like in NetLab or any of these other things I actually might know about?
Generally not. What happens is I will from time to time take Paul's stuff and I will create an RPM for it and put it into the ArcaOS RPM repositories.
Uh-huh.
But other than that, Paul just puts his zips together.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that Paul used to complain in the past is that he likes feedback. He needs people to test the software and post something that it works, it does not works. And I think that when he likes feedbacks, the software remains like a test release and never goes to the, and it may be good, maybe working great, but since he doesn't have feedback, it never goes to the mainstream like RPM package or hubs or some other place. So I think it's important to give feedback on the forum, positive and constructive feedback, and we can go keep working there to improve the
And the
software.
best way to do that is in OS2 world?
For the moment, yes, I
Okay.
think there has been a good place for collaboration. People know each other, and it's like the fighting days are over, and we're getting along. Okay. And well, but about Google, I think we can agree that we can download it, we can test it. It just there are some instructions there to move the virtual memory, and I think it's not going to crash your machine or do anything strange. If you don't like it, you change the virtual machine, the virtual memory on the configs again, and it's like nothing happened. Okay. But my experience is that I have used it for some places, it works fine. Of course, you go to YouTube, it will crash immediately, but some other sites have like different results. But it's for me, like it's a good experience to download files from hubs
And do you, you guys that actually use it, you send them something when you notice a certain website crashed? Or like what a testing nightmare this is?
It is. It's a huge testing nightmare.
Uh-huh.
And that's really why we need more people running the browser and testing different things.
Mhm. I mean, didn't there used to be websites where it would exercise features in JavaScript, for example, so that like a way to test stuff actually,
Yeah,
not having to test a million
Yeah,
websites.
HTML5 testing and,
Acid test.
what's that?
Acid test.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that we're even up to that yet.
Okay.
yeah.
I
But
mean, right now, it's, test this page, and, because a lot of these things don't test whether an image file will load and crash the browser loading the image file. And that happens sometimes.
but
I mean-
yeah, sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. But the thing that, when you test a website with Google is, where is the issue? Is the issue on the browser? Is the issue on Qt? So usually what I do is, okay, I have like Google on Windows, Google on ArcaOS. I visit the site on 2, oh, it crashed in OS2, or maybe it only crashed on ArcaOS. It may be the port of Qt6. It crashed in both in Windows, and it's the double port. And I report that to the author of Google on his GitHub page.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of, you have to like, it's,
It'd be cool if there was like a way to dump an error log or something.
Yeah.
Like Firefox has that feature.
okay.
So
So
Google is a relatively simple browser, is that why it was
But
chosen, or what's the
it's a
logic?
very simple browser.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't have like password management, that is like what people mostly complain. And yes, and it uses like the Chromium, the Chromium libraries titled WebKit,
WebKit.
the Chromium WebKit to render pages. Okay.
Is Dave Eel in Australia?
He's in Canada,
Dave
He's
is
in Canada? Okay.
West Coast, I believe.
And
I think he's off
the last page I
down
have
in
here
DC, isn't
this is like a new release. They Paul Smedley and also Dave Gale, and they released like a test build of Opera browser, which is like the idea of Opera browser would be to recreate the aspects of Opera. Remember Opera, and well, it's for the moment, for what I have tested, is very similar in the performance to Google because it uses the same engine at the back, right? But they have released this other browser that I think it's more mature, but we need to keep trying it. It was recently released, and we need more testing with it. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, at least something is happening. I think we should like endorse these releases, try to give more feedback, see what can be fixed, and see if it can go getting stable with time.
And is there a way to give them money? Like, I give money a couple times to the Russian guy, but, you know.
Well, I think
So
it's
you give money to whom?
Well, like these guys, is there a
Paul
mechanism?
Stanley has a thing on your website. doesn't he?
That's right, are you, ArcaOS.com in the store under sponsoring,
Uh-huh,
you'll find there's a link to sponsor Paul.
okay.
And a link to sponsor NetLabs,
Yeah, I forget like the older browser that we were opening.
Firefox.
Not Firefox. The Russian guy was working on Qt5, that guy that lives in Estonia now.
Oh, Dimitri.
Dimitri.
Dimitri. You know, I gave a few $100 a couple times, but you know.
Well, he's still working on the Qt5 version of Dougal now. He was originally, the target was Otter browser, then it became Dougal. And the easiest one is for Simple Browser, which is just sort of a proof of concept browser that comes with Qt, or Qt is how it's really pronounced. Yeah, I mean, the difference is how much progress Dimitri's making versus Paul and Dave.
And you would vote the second choice? They're making more progress, or?
It's not for me to say.
Okay.
There's a long story there.
So
Okay.
that guy's still working on that, huh? The Russian guy?
Yeah, Dimitri's still working on it. He's out of Russia now.
So he can be paid by, who pays him, Bitwise Works?
He's part of Bitwise, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So let me know if I missed something like that was relevant on this year. I don't know if you have something in mind that, oh, this was like great for me and it was released in the last 2 years. These are like I say, it's my personal opinion of what was relevant recently. And well, just let me know. I'm open for questions.
I just want to say thank you for your work on OS2 World.
Oh, okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, definitely.
Files on hubs. I
Okay,
think that's
yeah.
a very, very valuable
Yeah,
activity for us.
it was a very OCD work. but it is almost over. But I'm only missing like some multimedia files on hubs. But yeah, sorry, and it got me like a lot of hit. They told me, don't you think that because you were like reorganizing hubs, they decide to pull the plug because you were like there? And I say, well,
No, I don't think that.
no.
is.
At the end, I talked to the archiver. He retired, and there was no one else that wanted to get hubs, and they say, okay, let's pull the plug. So I say, thanks for making me feel bad, but that's not the story. Yeah. Okay. Any other question?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.